becoming your own therapist. So that's what we're going to do. And now let's look at stress. So what is stress? Well, stress is, I always use the word messy because it's never just one thing. It's always a lot of things that are coming together. So for example, it's anxiety and depression. Now, I think a lot of people have this view that anxiety and depression are different problems. And in some senses they are. But the reality is, if you have one, there's a really high chance you will have the other as well. So it's much more common to have what we call mixed anxiety depression. So, sometimes people believe they've got an anxiety problem. Maybe the GP says, you've got an anxiety problem. And then they realize, oh, wait a minute, I've got signs of depression as well. Oh my goodness, I've got another problem. And the reality is, no, you don't. You have stress, which brings these two things together. But panic may well be in that as well, whether it's panicky feelings or true panic attacks. We will look at panic attacks in session 5. And sleep problems are almost inevitable in here. Now that could be not getting over to sleep. It could be waking up during the night. It could be sleeping far too long. So we'll look at a range of ways of handling those. But also you'll get these things. Oh, sleep problems is in it twice. That's how important it is. It's in it twice there. And we'll look at things like low self-esteem and low self-confidence as well. Here's a wee video which will give you some ideas. This is from Glasgow.
Let's face it, life isn't easy, is it? Pretty much all of us have problems to deal with and challenges to cope with in our lives. Maybe you worry about money all the time and debts getting on top of you. At work, you're always chasing your tail, or maybe you don't have a job and that's getting you down. And then at home, well, there are always going to be problems with your family or relationships. The pace of the world we live in today sends most people's heads spinning, and we often get so stressed we feel we just can't cope. But there's nothing to be ashamed of, because stress is a very normal thing to have. And what is stress? Well, for most people, it's depression or anxiety, or more often than not, a mixture of both. In fact, it's one of the most common problems found right across the world today, and we can all get it.
Okay. So I like to use the idea of blood pressure. Right? If you're alive, you've got blood pressure. Sometimes that blood pressure gets too high, and you should do something about it. Same with stress. If you're alive, you've got stress. But sometimes if that stress gets too high, you should do something about it. So it's not that there are people who get stress and people who don't get stress. We're all on a line somewhere. And no one, I don't think anyone, has never experienced stress. They would be a very strange robot if that was the case. That's not how humans operate. So we're all on that line somewhere. And we will go up and down that line. I mean, you will probably notice that you can shoot up and down that line at various times in the same day. But you'll notice that at this point of the line, it doesn't say no stress. It says low stress. So if we all get stress, then when should we be concerned about it? Well, I would argue when you can't get rid of it. So, say you have a really rotten day at work and you come home and you clap the dog, or you talk to your partner, or you listen to some music and you get your stress under control. You've got skills, but you do all of that and it still doesn't work. Time to do something about your stress there. When it comes and goes for no good reason, if you've just had a really big argument with your sister, then it makes sense to be stressed. If you are going into work tomorrow and know that there's going to be a massive pile of work waiting for you, it makes sense to be stressed. If you wake up on a lovely sunny Sunday morning and you've got nothing to do that day, but you're really stressed, time to do something about it. And when it starts to be at the center of your life, So your brother phones you up and says, do you want to go out for a pint on Friday? And you say, oh yeah, that'd be good, but I'll wait and see how I feel on Friday. Stress is now at the center of your life, and that's the time to do something about it. Well, let's listen to how some people describe their stress. So here's John.
I worry about everything. I can't put my finger on why I worry. I just do. I'm a nervous wreck. I can't cope with things that everybody else can cope with. My self-confidence is nil. I feel that I've lost control of my life, and I don't know how to get it back.
That is such a common way for people to describe stress. And that's more to do with anxiety there, right? Saying, I worry.